We're ready. Right, so, hi everybody. We're calling this meeting of November 13th, 2025, regular board meeting of the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency to order. I'll take a roll call. James Gordon here, Don Egan, Andrew Giorsi, present, Erica Brown,
Here.
Mike Baden,
Here.
okay, Mark Ryder,
Here.
Timothy DeGraff,
Here.
Anthony
Randy is
okay, Tim Wiedemann,
Here.
and Nancy Lynn.
Here.
Great. I understand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've reached public comment. Is there anyone in the public who would like to comment? None, that's a surprise. Okay, legislator manager O'Brien, please.
I want to say two really positive things. One is about the work that is being done on the circular economy. I think that's exactly what is needed, and the fact that it's such an inclusive process. And then the other thing is that the Recycling Oversight Committee has been revitalized in this meeting, and I'm very encouraged because it's exactly what it was designed to be. Very different perspectives of people listening to each other and learning from each other. And I think we'll be able to make some good recommendations moving forward. And ultimately, it'll go through energy and environment. And then my one disappointment is that as hard as I've tried, I have copies of the RFP, RFQ, or whatever, for the zero waste implementation plan. And I'll be making a chart and giving my 2 cents. But I still don't understand the process for making a decision as frequently as I've asked for how that's going to get completed. And I think part of the problem is that Mackey said he needed $5,000 more to complete it with a team of people. And instead they bid it out, and the engineering firms are very expensive. And I don't think it's been budgeted. I don't know whether there'll be a budget amendment. So it feels to me like finishing the zero waste plan is a little bit in limbo. And there were some requests that came from the Recycling Oversight Committee that I believe the chair, that Erin will be forwarding to Mark. I don't need to go into detail on that, but some very specific requests, just one of which was, what is the current recycling waste diversion rate? That was one that was outstanding, but there's several others that shall be included. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment tonight? Okay. So let's move on to approving the agenda. We have one change already that I'm aware of. We're not going to take up resolution 2666 tonight. Some paperwork didn't arrive, so we'll pick that up in December. Do any board members have any other changes to the agenda? No?
I'll
Okay.
make a motion then to accept with that one amendment.
Okay, second please.
No second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. Approval of the minutes for October 9th, 2025. Sure. Yep.
Or is it? I think I have one change. Oh, this is the October.
This is the last meeting.
Oh, yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 9th.
Okay, second, please.
Second, Mike Baden.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, great, thank you. Opposed? Okay. All right, so, communications and announcements. The regular board meeting is scheduled for December 11th, 2025. If I'm not mistaken, that's a week early for our usual schedule. No, we always do
It
second.
falls.
Okay, second, okay, great, right. Anyway, December 11th at 6:15 PM. And the Zero Waste Committee meeting is scheduled before that at 5:15 PM, December 11th, 2025. Okay, and tonight we have presentations from Rebecca Martin, John Lipscomb, and Jen Epstein. The leachate loophole. So, take it away.
Yeah, where would you like me? We have a presentation, but should I just, Tim said here.
No.
Yeah, you feel comfortable there? Yeah, where you feel comfortable?
Okay, hello. Yeah, so my colleague Jen Epstein is zooming in as well from Africa.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
what time is it there?
it's late, but we're happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Just let her get on.
Yeah, give her a sec. Looks like she was having some difficulty there.
All right, well, while she's coming on,
I'm here. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, welcome.
okay, great.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And what time is it where you are? All right, well, thank you for having us. I'm Rebecca Martin, I know some of you. I'm here tonight on behalf of New York River Watch, which is formerly the Hudson and Mohawk Rivers Leachate Collaborative. And I just have some notes tonight. We wanted to talk a little bit about the leachate loophole, which I know you're all familiar with. But really to focus on a rulemaking, some new regulations that are coming up in the state on leachate, on landfill leachate management. Just to bring it to your attention in the case it isn't, and to answer any questions you might have. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as I just said, I'm here on behalf of New York River Watch. I'm the project manager of the leachate loophole, but we've now become New York River Watch. We did a bite at the apple looking at leachate and the regulations that allows it to leave landfills to go to sewage treatment plants. As you know, we studied it as it pertains to the Hudson and Mohawk rivers, and now we're expanding our work to do statewide data. So now we're New York River Watch, and so I'm here tonight with Jen. Next slide. Jen Epstein, who is a co-founder of New York River Watch along with me, and is our director of science, and Captain John Lipscomb, who's our technical advisor. Yeah,
Do you think she's speaking loud enough for our tape?
Right now she's muted.
me?
Oh, sorry, for the recording, yes.
Yes, okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
okay,
thanks, I
no.
just wanted to make sure, thank you. Before you got started,
Yeah,
I
no,
wanted
it's
to make sure.
good, yeah. Maureen Cunningham, who is our technical advisor for strategy and management, and we work with Good Work Institute, who's our fiscal sponsor. Next slide. So since releasing our report in December of 2024, we've been leading a campaign to expose the leachate loophole, which is the practice of sending raw leachate to municipal sewage treatment plants that are built to handle human waste, not toxic industrial chemicals. And this is a QR code that is our report. If you'd like to take a look at it, next slide. So along with our organization, a big part of what makes us strong are our community partner organizations. And so we have this list of organizations that we're working with now, and it's growing. Next slide. So the goal, so New York River Watch is the organization for our statewide data, but our campaign and probably is leachate and the leachate loophole, which is probably something we'll work on for the rest of our lives. And our goals for the leachate loophole campaign is to raise awareness about landfill leachate disposal and the impacts that it's having to our rivers and lakes, especially those that provide drinking water, to help empower communities to protect the drinking water supplies from leachate contamination. And we have just begun this new statewide data that will be released in 2026. It's all public information that we're compiling to be able to show the public the scope and scale of this problem. Next slide. So I know that you're all familiar with the leachate loophole. I came in here to UCRRA earlier in the year just to say hello and to make sure you'd all seen the leachate loophole. And the reason why I wanted to get into C tonight is because I was here last month and witnessed the engineering report that you had commissioned to talk to you about options for leachate and compliance, quote unquote, but really wanted to make sure that you're aware of the upcoming rules in New York State before you went and invested any more money or time on studies. So just to refresh, the leachate loophole, here's how it occurs. So the Clean Water Act at the landfill requires, and you know this, having a landfill requires permits if leachate is to be discharged into any of the neighboring waters. And permits can have some treatment requirements here at the landfill. But the Clean Water Act at the sewage treatment plant, so in New York State and actually everywhere, we're in New York State, so that's our focus area. Landfills can avoid permits by trucking leachate from the landfill site or piping it to sewage treatment plants that are not designed to handle any sort of toxic chemicals. Speedies permits, the state pollutant discharge elimination system permits that you apply for, I suppose, if you were to discharge leachate here, but municipal sewage treatment plants apply for these speedies permits to monitor and to limit things typically like biological, biochemical oxygen demand, BOD, or total suspended solids, TSS, or nutrients, pH, fecal coliform, sometimes metals, organics. And so the pollutants that aren't listed on their permits don't have to be removed or monitored. And so we all know that leachate contains a complex mix of toxic chemicals, and if they don't affect the plant's ability to meet its monitored limits, then the plant can accept them freely and without restriction. So it's a practice that's very old. You know, it's a boat we're all in. It isn't anyone's fault. It's just a practice that exists and that we want to talk about to make sure that whatever we do in New York State is we're on the right road, right? So the Safe Drinking Water Act, so in order to get the public to understand leachate, what it is, and why it's impactful when it is discharged into a water body, the waters, our rivers and lakes, we've tied it to drinking water to make sure that we all understand here what, you know, the seriousness of the problem that we're facing. And so the Safe Drinking Water Act at the drinking water plant protects public health with limits for more than 90 plus chemicals. But the problem is that the sewage treatment plants that are discharging into the river, in the case, or lakes in the state, in this case, the Hudson River, which you're familiar with, the practice, they're not required to remove any of the contaminants that the drinking water plants are looking for. So this is the leachate loophole, essentially. And so once leachate leaves the landfill, whether by truck or pipe in New York State, the landfill's responsibility ends. Even if pollution enters lakes and streams or waters. And it's transported long distances sometimes to find a place who will accept it. Hundreds of miles away, sometimes across state lines, into New Jersey, into communities that may not know what they're receiving. And while it's the cheapest option right now for landfills, paying municipalities pennies per gallon, sometimes nothing, if the municipality owns the landfill, and the cost in pollution and public health risks and impacts on the creatures living in the waters who don't have any choice in the matter falls on downstream communities and the environment. So I appreciate giving that overview and refresh. But what I'm really here to talk about tonight is the rulemaking, which is the action that's attached to the work that we're doing so that we can actually do something about it together. Next slide. So the rulemaking, so there's a process called rulemaking, for those, just to simplify, it's just regulations. On leachate management, they're calling it now. At the beginning, it was on-site treatment and disposal of leachate at landfills when it was originally announced. And now the DEC is calling it leachate, landfill leachate management. And we're expecting it to begin in the first quarter of 2026. And we think the DEC is right to regulate leachate, but how the rule is written will determine whether it's truly protective of water and public health and the environment, or simply shifting the pollution as we're doing now. This is a QR code right now. We actually did which I'm about to just review with you, a timeline of the rulemaking since it was announced to where we are now, and why I'm here to tell you a little bit about it. So
We have these slides, so I'm gonna pass them on to the board afterwards, so QR codes and all that.
Pictures, yeah. And we're always here to help you if you have follow-up questions. So right now, I want municipalities and counties to prepare for what's coming, and to focus the engagement on this rulemaking process, rather than spending, and it's your decision, but rather than spending money and time and resources on reports, when we can actually write a law that could be protective, that can lead to funding, that can lead to, in the long term, that can lead to opportunities for UCRRA to apply for funding for, hopefully, right now there are really no good solutions for the problem that we have, but if our society demands it, then there will be, and that's what we believe. So next step. So a bit about what we learned just last week. So it's timely, I'm so glad we did before we came in. And so the DEC's webpage for the rule, which is what we've all been following, lists only one stakeholder meeting back in 2023. So we learned about it a few months when we started to do this work. And we were really excited to know that the state was gonna do a once in a generation rulemaking for leachate. And so that's why we worked hard to get this report done swiftly, even though it took years. But I'm glad we're out ahead of the rulemaking so we can help folks to prepare. So the stakeholder meeting that they held was focused on the landfill industry. And I don't know if you've been outreached to by the DEC for input. You haven't?
No.
Okay, so we were aware of this meeting, which gave us the opportunity to foil for all the stakeholder comments, the landfill, and we were able to review it. It was very informative and helped us to shape our action and to understand what was happening. However, a week ago, and we learned this only through our own research, we found that the DEC has continued sharing updates with the same industry from 2024 to 2025 at the Federation of New York Solid Waste Associations Conference. And these presentations are not publicly posted. And the slide decks reference yet another unlisted meeting that's not available to any of us. Next slide. So the timeline of events, just to see this is what we've found, uncovered. Between 2023 and 2025, the DEC substantially changed the proposal without broad input. And the industry had multiple opportunities to comment. Other stakeholders like sewage treatment plant and water treatment plant operators, local governments, county governments, environmental groups, frontline communities, and the public were left out. Next slide. And what we've learned from these slide decks is that the DEC now favors treatment of leachate before discharge, which is a significant shift from its initial approach. So the agency's first proposal would have required that leachate remain on site, likely in a solid form. The current proposal, however, envisions issuing permits for on and off-site treatment facilities. And this raises questions such as which contaminants will be regulated, what limits will apply, and what happens to the concentrated waste that remains. Slide. Thank you, Tim. So what we want is a fair engagement process for everyone. And today we sent a coalition letter to the DEC that I actually shared with Mark, with Erica, some folks, just so that folks were aware. We had 13 organizations sign on that included Riverkeeper, Hudson 7, the New York, New Jersey Bay Keeper, Roar, and others, many keepers, which was really great. And we're asking for now the DEC to pause the rulemaking process until they've done proper engagement to all of those who are impacted by what will be a rule for leachate. And so we're not trying to stop the process, we just want fairness. And once a rule is published, there's no going back. If a rule is published with only input from the landfills, to get the input from all else at that point is just very difficult to get it adopted. We want to see the language of the rule reflective of all. And within 20 minutes, we've been trying to get a meeting with the DEC all year without any luck, 4 times. Today was the 4th time. And within 20 minutes, we got a meeting. But it took a coalition letter in order to get a meeting. It's an hour long, and we're inviting all of our partners to go. We're inviting sewage treatment plant operators and water treatment plant operators and public members to attend this meeting initially, so we can all understand what they're doing and ask them to pause and to do more of the same. Next slide. So Ulster County has approximately 46, inactive landfills. And leachate from 4 of them that I believe you're responsible for is being sent to Kingston. This is no surprise. And Saugerties and Poughkeepsie sometimes also is accepting leachate. All of these facilities discharge into the Hudson. And nearby drinking water intakes in a tidal river. Communities that rely on the river as their primary drinking water source. And the thing that's important for UCRRA to understand is that right now the DEC's draft rule, based on the presentations that we found, will exclude inactive landfills, industrial monofills, and Long Island sites currently. So they're only looking now at active landfills and their leachate, not inactive landfills, which is pretty significant. So because of which, even if new regulations appear to address leachate, there's going to be a large portion of pollution that will remain unregulated. Next slide. So we believe a comprehensive approach is critical because the rule will shape how New York handles landfill leachate pollution for a generation or more. And we would also like to shift this conversation away from PFAS. So it's not PFAS, it's leachate. And by highlighting the problem, Holistically, our society, as I said, can demand or urge solutions that are actually protective and that are funded, right? Opportunities for municipalities and counties. Leachate management connects to solid waste reduction, plastic use, and landfill lifespan. So leachate for us is an inroad to all kinds of conversations about what you're dealing with and talking about now. And good rules prioritize prevention, not just end of pipe treatment. Next slide, last slide. So the bottom line is that we believe, and we hope you agree, that the DEC must include all stakeholders, not just landfill operators, but also sewage and water treatment plant operators, as I'll say it again, local governments, fence line communities located at landfills, and the public, to ensure that those who manage or are affected by landfill leachate have a voice before the rule is published. And so the focus should be and is for us on engaging as many people as we can reach, especially those who have power, like you all do, on the upcoming rulemaking process, not on spending additional resources on studies and engineering solutions before the new regulations are in place. So that's good news for you. We believe this is our opportunity to shape a law right now together, and we hope that you'll join our efforts. And thank you so much for listening to all of that. And we're happy to answer any questions, technical or otherwise, with Jen on the line.
Rebecca, did you just say that there's a meeting slated? Is there a date and time?
Meeting,
Did you say that there was a meeting?
rulemaking?
No, I
The
thought that
stakeholder meeting.
No, oh, with the
they
DEC.
finally replied to you. and
Yes,
said-
November the 24th at 2:30.
Thank
And
you.
so we just confirmed it today, and
And where is that?
it's gonna be online, so you can zoom in.
And who's gonna be the
We're
DEC
gonna
rep?
be leading it. We hope it's the commissioner and her staff.
You'll send me information.
Yeah.
I'll get it out to you.
Yeah, and we can talk about it. We'll be leading it, but we really want everyone's eyes on this.
So anybody on the board, Mike?
Yeah. Is this rulemaking subject to seeker? I mean, they would have to publicly post the various documents involved with the seeker, I would think.
I'm not sure, but maybe at the very end. I mean, rulemaking is, there's a 60-day public comment period,
Yeah.
but what we're doing now, and we're watching this happen with methane gas. There's an organization that is organizing stakeholders to meet with the DEC in order to inform the language, the methane gas rulemaking, before it's published. And we haven't had that same opportunity. And so what we're trying to do is open this up so that our partners and robust partners can help to inform the language of the rulemaking. The process of the rulemaking is something we can talk about another time. Happy to come with our lawyers to help you to understand that process.
Well, the reason I ask is because that would allow involved agencies to sign on to the seeker process. And that way you have to be kept in the loop of the
Oh.
process.
Oh, yeah, well,
So
so
that's why I'm
it's not
asking
that
that
sort of, I see.
Yeah.
No, it's not that kind of process. It's not an environmental review.
Anybody have any questions? Donna?
I
Thank
love
you.
questions.
Thank you for that very nice presentation. I appreciate
My
taking the time
pleasure.
to educate us.
Yeah.
So are you thinking that pre-treatment standards, is that before it goes to another facility? I'm struggling with what
What the solution
the
is.
solution is, and I don't know, I know you can't say, well, the solution is this, because I think it's pretty complicated, but is that kind of what you were alluding to?
It's where I think we're heading.
Okay.
So I mean, what we're doing is raising the problem. The solution, we don't have a solution right now. So the rule will actually give us a sense of what the state is thinking. the solution is. We don't know what the state is thinking. We just know that, as we said, it's changed drastically from where it began. Keeping leachate on site into cement blocks to now on-site facilities, either at landfills or remote sites. We don't know. But what we want to make sure is that before that rulemaking is published, that the DEC is not just talking to the industry. They're talking to also, you know, the operators who are downstream and dealing with pollution. Communities who are drinking the water. I mean, there might be, if we can make sure that the language is created through good stakeholder engagement, the public will definitely have a good opportunity when it's published. We're asking for 90 days public comment once the rule is released. The rules get, I believe, 60 days just on their own. We want 90. It's complicated. And there's a lot of work. Like if I could talk to every municipality in New York State, I would, just to get everybody ready for this. I think communities can go back and say, our sewage treatment plant operators we need to call the DEC. It doesn't just have to be us. Municipalities can do that work as well. And if I were a mayor or supervisor, I'd be, and I'm involved or receiving, I would definitely want my experts to talk to the DEC. So I don't know what the answer, I don't know it's complicated. And we've talked to a lot of different folks. We work with great scientists and engineers, lots of things, lots of new studies but I think, you know, if we ask for or demand, as I've said, for solutions, we'll have them. But we have to start by understanding the whole problem, I think, not the siloed pieces of the leachate pollution problem.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, Rebecca and I met a few weeks ago and talked a little bit more in depth.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for.
Mark, you have any questions?
I-
Oh, you have one?
Have you engaged the local political people at all?
Yeah, well, so Ulster County.
Right.
And the legislature has sent a letter of support.
Which legislature? The state?
Ours,
legislature? Okay.
Ulster, the Ulster County Executive,
Right.
the Ulster County Environmental Management Council. Ulster County has done more than anyone else in the state so far. The city of Kingston.
Yeah,
And
but
there's
what
been some-
about the state legislature? What about the
Oh.
department with the, I believe, when I used to be a reporter, the oversight for the DEC was with the Environmental Affairs Committee, it used to be called.
Right,
Have you
so,
contacted the chair of the Environmental Affairs Committee?
yes, so the environmental conservation, the Assembly and the Senate environmental, yes.
Yes.
And we're meeting again with Senator Harcum.
And how are
And
they
Assembly
reacting to
members,
this?
very supportive. Senator Hinchy
Good.
sent letters, Senator Harcum, Assembly Member Glick,
And how about the Albany Times Union?
they've been very supportive.
Good. Yeah,
We've
'cause I
gotten a
think-
lot of press.
Good.
When the report came out, and we've been trying to figure out our next steps, and our next step is statewide data. New York River Watch, nobody can remember Hudson Mohawk Rivers Leachate Collaborative.
Right.
So we've changed our name
Yep.
so that people can understand it.
Rebranded it, but it's a much
It's
better name.
easier for people to understand. Statewide data is coming. We're working with our partners on actions of all sorts. And, you know, I think everybody is who understands the problem is supportive. Everyone has the same question that you have, well, what's the solution? And that's why we want to get everybody rowing in the same direction, so we can find that out together. We don't want one or two people making that decision for the state.
And Legislator Green had a question.
First, a suggestion, and that is, there's an association of town supervisors and mayors.
Yeah.
And they do really excellent presentations, and that's a good way. And an observation that when we were working on whether or not Holtec was gonna discharge radioactive water into the Hudson, there was a question about how far upstream that would travel and whether it would affect the 7 communities that take their drinking water. In this case, the river is going up and down and the sewage treatment plants are located all along the river, so it's a little bit different. My question is, maybe I should know this, but most of our landfills are unlined. You can easily collect leachate from lined landfills, but if they're unlined, is there any leachate collection? In other words, do we just stop thinking about the unlined ones?
The unlined ones are just seeping leachate into the ground.
They're toxic time bombs.
I mean, so the ones that we have that we've set up leachate collection around and all of that, and that we're transporting leachate to Kingston currently, right? We're collecting that leachate. If we're doing that based on an old permit requirement, they almost didn't require it, but I think when we went from using both Ulster to New Paltz to using one of them for a short amount of time, that's when they said, hey, why don't you collect the leachate? But we were almost not required to back in the 80s. And many of these closed landfills are not required to collect their leachate. Which brings me into kind of a question from one of your final slides. You said focus on reduce, and maybe this is a Jen question, maybe you can answer. You said focus on reducing leachate at the source. So we go from anywhere from 3 million to 6 million gallons of leachate a year, often because of rain, depending on whether it's a wetter, whether it's a rainy season or not.
Yeah.
And while we just did a roadway around the New Paltz landfill, which will help, that we think that there was some runoff water that was getting into the tanks and also from a pond discharging down into the groundwater. So we've done some culvert work that might reduce the leachate, but otherwise, if it wasn't for something like that, like at our town of Ulster, what's the solution to actually reducing it at the source as opposed to treating it? Because that's not something that I'm aware of. Like we can't, we have an inactive landfill, and leachate is essentially groundwater waste tea. I mean, it's just water that's moving through the landfill that we collect and then go. I guess I'm not aware of like a reduction.
Well, maybe Jen, are you there?
I am here. I don't remember the context in which you said something about reducing leachate at the source.
It's the second. I think Tim's going back. It's like the second to last slide in your all's presentation on like solution steps. Focus on. Oh, you had it right there.
Yes. Right. Well, one thing that. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca. Are you going to answer?
That's it. No, I just wanted to make sure we had the right slide. We do.
Yeah. So I think that the spirit that this statement was intended in is more to do with taking a more holistic look at leachate management and acknowledging that active landfills generate far, far, far more leachate than inactive landfills. So a closed and capped landfill just has a lot less precipitation passing through it that's able to generate leachate. And so we are looking for broader stakeholder engagement so that this rule considers a broader perspective aside from just active landfill operators and active landfill management companies thinking of leachate as really just one of their many operational concerns, right? We want to get the perspectives that will show that we can also think about leachate generation from the point of view of if we create less waste and have less of a demand for landfills, then we can close landfills and produce less leachate over the long term.
Yeah.
And then
it has less to do with like how to manage specific closed or inactive landfills to reduce leachate.
And then I just have one quick comment to the board. I mean, I think, this is the first that I've heard that we were not necessarily going to be regulated in the rulemaking, that they are specifically keeping out inactive landfills. I think,
Landfills and Long Island.
and that's all important. I think one of the reasons that we would maybe lobby as an agency, even though this seems kind of counterproductive, maybe fiscally, is that if we're not regulated and we still want to treat the leachate and do the responsible thing, then we're not going to be eligible for any kind of funds that come out of this rulemaking. So we would benefit from being part of the regulation rulemaking process.
Plus, part of our mission is protecting the environment.
Right.
So, we can't pretend that we don't know this is a problem.
Exactly.
Move forward.
So we would want to fix it anyway.
But that's a
and-
key point.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
If it's not included,
then we wouldn't be able to.
Did they explain why Long Island is exempt? Has anyone made any explanation for that?
I have a, Jen, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, so it's less of an issue of certain landfills being exempted and more that DEC in its presentation materials has specifically mentioned that it is targeting the active municipal solid waste landfills and active C&D landfills. So that is just the very kind of thing that I think we want people to be able to ask, right?
Well, I grew up on Long Island. The water table is very shallow. I mean, and the town of Hempstead landfill where I grew up is a monster. You can see it from space.
Wow.
So, anyway, we can get off track if we're not careful. Any other questions?
Are they considering, because since it's active landfills, it would be the daily capping and closure of the landfill that would really impacts the leachate. Like the leachate we're getting from our landfills, because they're capped with clay and rubber, is really groundwater flowing through. Whereas leachate that you get in an active landfill is from rainwater and drainage that comes in, because it's not capped properly so that the rainwater can go through, and whatever liquid might be in the food and so forth. So are they considering strengthening or revitalizing the daily capping measures or anything like that? The physical actual act of trying to keep the rainwater out, basically.
Jen?
That's not something I've seen mentioned in the notes, but again, we have really limited information about what DEC is thinking. So that's the type of question that you're asking exactly. I mean, these are the things that we're trying to get. We're trying to get people to be able to talk directly to DEC about. There's great questions. I haven't seen capping mentioned.
So if you look at what I'm leaving with you today is just this, but I can also send it. I just didn't want to print a lot of paper. If you could follow the link, which I can send to you, so you can tap on it, or you can use the QR code, is a timeline of the rulemaking history. So you can see where we are and see how the scope has really changed. And I think if you're willing to think through how UCRRA might be a part of a lobby, but certainly you're welcome to be part of the call. You should ask those questions, and that's why we're here tonight, is to put this on your radar, work with you and help you in any way we can, and make this rulemaking a really great opportunity for all of us in New York State.
How is this meeting going to be run? Have they to let you know the format that it'll be?
I'm running it.
You're running the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And so we're going to see who wants to come. We'll probably do a 30-minute call with everybody who wants to come and walk through our agenda and give lots of, I've booked an hour because I want for folks to be able to ask questions specifically about the process of the rule, and to even ask for opportunities for the DEC to make presentations to you.
Will the 30 minutes before the 30 minutes of stakeholders who want to attend before the meeting, will you kind of organize thoughts and ideas? Because I know that
Yes.
I've been in meetings and sometimes
I
people
run a
not
tight,
overshare,
I
but
run a
you're saying
tight
the
ship.
same things.
yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Uh,
We're gonna
reduce
have the
redundancy.
DEC's ear.
Yeah.
For an hour, we're gonna make sure it's impactful.
Mhm.
And that everybody leaves with next steps.
Can I add one thing about that meeting, Rebecca?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just want to clarify that this 1 hour meeting that we have with DEC coming up, we don't envision that as being the stakeholder input opportunity. We envision it as being an opportunity for people to understand the process and straight from DEC's mouth, and then also to request from them additional stakeholder engagement. Just want to make sure that's really clear.
yeah, we both said it. We just did, right, we just want the DC to be aware that we all
We're watching.
we're watching and we wanna be involved.
I would suggest that somebody from New York Riverwatch signs up as a member of SWAN. I think that I think there's
SWANA?
lots of different,
Swana?
Solid Waste
So,
Association
New York.
it's the Federation conference that you referenced
Oh, okay.
here, Solid Waste Association in North America. And it's the New York Federation, but
Okay,
you all, I'm sure, could be members. I don't think
I
it's
don't
like
know.
this tightly, I think that
maybe in the new year we'll start looking
you
at
could
those
look at
things.
it and then maybe even send somebody to the 26th conference because they're gonna have.
You absolutely can be a member.
Well,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
it's just
registration I
individual.
noticed through December the 5th, and I'm thinking about submitting an application to present there.
Abstracts, yeah,
Abstracts, so that-
we're submitting abstracts.
Oh, good.
So,
and also, if you mentioned the county mayors and supervisors, I think Rich Parity is the chair of that.
Correct, chair.
So we did reach out to ask if we could present. So if there is that opportunity, we would love that opportunity.
They
Anyone who's
actually
involved.
meet
Third,
next Tuesday.
If we've asked, if we were invited, we would be there. Because I think sewage treatment plants, drinking water plants, anything that's within the municipal purview, they should know and they should be reaching out to the DEC.
I would probably shoot for the January.
Okay,
There's
If
so
we're-
much
if we're invited,
turnover
if
this
we're
year
invited- oh,
in
yeah.
the supervisors that you're gonna be presenting to half to a quarter that aren't gonna be there.
whenever.
Yeah,
So
they don't meet in December, so
are you part of it?
I used to be the
Used to,
chair
'cause-
of it.
yeah.
because I was town supervisor.
That's right. Nice to see you actually in person.
But I
So
stepped away
it's
from that.
6:48.
So
So
thanks to
Thank you.
Jen.
And thank you, Jen.
thank you, Jen, very much.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks
This
to
is
you
very good
for listening.
Thank
information.
you all very much. for
And
coming.
thank you very much for all the hard work. I mean, it's clear you've done a great job. So thank you.
We don't have much, we need to account for a lot more.
Oh, it's
Right, good night.
Good night, Becky. Be in touch. Thank you. Okay, so we're on to general reports, committee and official meeting reports. by board Members, I'm not aware that we had a meetings in the last month. But we have to report on. Recycling program update.
So you have the paper update. Angelina sent me a couple things. So in October, recycling outreach team participated in 3 community events, hosted 3 facility tours, and led 3 workshops. With these 9 outreach programs, they collectively reached 255 adults and 35 children through 21 hours of direct education. Our last HHW collection event of the year was held on Sunday, October 26th, with 287 attendees. Approximately 971 households were served by the program this year. Hazardous household waste events will resume again in the spring of 26. In the meantime, residents can check our online recyclopedia for other options or take advantage of free paint recycling at participating paint care drop-off programs. As seasonal programs come to a close, a reminder that the last day to recycle e-waste will be Saturday, November 22nd. though many other local options exist and residents can always check our recyclopedia, we will resume weekly drop-off with 2 convenience pop-up events in winters, dates to be determined. They're typically in January.
What are bin rentals?
We offer compost bin rentals, so like in recycling, like
Is that the black plastic that you
The totes.
return? Oh,
no,
that's
no,
different.
no, no. You're thinking of like this is just like for festivals,
Okay.
for
To just throw it around.
events to collect, and then
Does someone come by and pick it up?
people come here and get it. Oh, no.
Okay,
Like,
so we would come get, like, if
Yeah.
we want to rent it, come pick it up, bring it back.
yes. And a lot of times people hire a hauler, but this is a collection point for food waste. We have our 3 bin rentals. So there's regular garbage, recycling, food waste. It's free. It says rentals, but it's more about forms and other things like that.
I feel like I never do that. I don't know how I'm doing about the compost bin rental.
There's a lot to it.
Is that involved
It's
with
not
green
heavily
the event?
used.
Okay,
I'm sorry, is that involved with green the event that they did in the spring?
We've been doing it before Green the Scene, but
Did we
Green,
get involved with that at all?
we were, peripherally.
Yeah, it ended in June, so,
Well, it went all the way through the year, but
but the grants were ended in June or something.
they were awarded.
Yeah.
But like, the Rosendale Street Festival participated, they were in late August, and so, yeah.
Any more comments or questions on
Yeah,
that?
I'd like to make a comment,
Sure.
just for the record, is in the past, we have had, year-round collection of electronics. So, you know that, people, when they're ready to get rid of their TV, wanna get rid of their TV, and so it's gonna go in the trash, and, a lot of municipalities do have year-round collection. It's something we should consider again. And it is possible, and we have done it, so I'm not sure why we're back to not doing it.
We start to see during the winter months that already the collection has dropped way off, in October and November compared to like other months. And, yes, people will come to the pop-up events in January, February. But they don't typically come through the holiday months in December and January. People don't, we have a staff member that sits out there and collects all day when those are open, and typically it's been very slow lately. But it's been a couple years. I mean, it's not been during my time, and I think year round, other than when the previous executive director had it kind of so that people could drop it off at the administration building anytime. DC got upset that there wasn't a lot of oversight of these materials. It looked junky, and it did not create more electronics waste collection.
I wonder if there's any tracking of that. It could help to potentially inform like future calendars. Maybe there's a holiday, like a January one, like after the holidays. It's like, did you?
That's what we do.
Yeah,
Exactly, that's the big,
But I
that's the
mean,
big time.
But he's saying that happens.
Mark, couldn't we also inform the people that inquire about the towns? What 3/4 of the towns approximately take electronics, and possibly if they live in a town that doesn't take electronics. I don't know if another town like Gardner doesn't take electronics, but Shongham does all year long. I don't know if you could come in. You probably could because of the way it's run, but come in there and say, and I don't think it costs anything to drop them off, and say, I'd like to drop these off. They used to do that with regular recyclables way back. So maybe
Each town's different in as far as, I mean, it's all available. That information's all on our website, but whether they take out of town residents or not, whether they do recycling or electronics recycling or not. I mean, I think we talked about this in maybe August, how there's so many different variations at each MRDC. But we do track that and put that information on our website.
Okay.
So in Angelina's report, she talked about people really checking the recyclopedia because that has a lot of the up-to-date
Okay.
information.
Because
But it's they're all good points. And we do look and track and we have like the week to week collections.
All right, MSW tonnage report?
Sure. So for the month of September, our MSW volume was under the target by 167 tons. C&D was under the target by 531 tons. That just continues the trend we've seen most of the year. Year to date, our total volume is under the target by 5,165 tons, or 4.8%, which leaves us still on pace for approximately 136,000 tons. I took a closer look at comparing last year to this year. Actually, I know this report's September, but I did it through October just to see, because I know back in May when I had last done it, a lot of the volume was off. It was specifically down on our default site, and it was MSW, which gets a lot more commercial soft trash down there. That's continued, not just the large haulers, but also our cash customers, which is your hand loads or your dump trailers and that type of business. Is still off down at New Paltz. C&D is off at both sites, and it's various. It's kind of all over the place, but it's our large roll off and dump trailer businesses appear to be rolled down on C&D. But my guess is it's probably economical compared to prior years. If I hadn't put money on it. So other than that, not much change. On the recycling side, I do have a change that I noticed when I was reviewing this. I missed an input on one of our OCC volumes. So it says for September, OCC is 131.75. That actual number, and this will be updated for next month. The actual number is 174.91, which is in line, much more in line with the rest of the year. So our year to date on that is not 1,402.90, but actually 1,446.06. Nothing really. We're pretty consistent on the rest of the items. Other than you'll notice food waste, organics, which is the company that brings us the majority of our food waste volume, bump back up again, and that's why you see it go from 356 tons in August to 448 in the month of September. Our MRF cost center analysis. So we sold plastic loads, as I stated in the past. Because it takes a while for us to build up files to sell. I know I do this monthly, but you always got to look at this big picture for this exact reason, because we haven't had expenses in prior months that doesn't necessarily result in the matching principle of revenue in the same month. So you'll see on our sale of recyclables, we had sales of 22,131 plastic. I also want to note, kind of see the same thing with specifically UBCs, universal beverage containers under the aluminum line for 11,747. So our total sale of recyclables for the month is 58,843. Related costs to that was 12,291, which gave us a net revenue of 46,552. You flip over to the expense side. There's nothing really to note on the expenses. So our total personnel and operating is 37,473, which actually gave us a little net income on the month of 9,079. You'll notice, as I mentioned, with the plastic sales, specifically natural, which is very high back in May. And if you go back across the line and look at net income, you'll see we did have a net income in May when we had plastic sales of natural. And the other time we sold it was a little less. In January, we had a little net loss in January, usually because volumes are down. But we did sell plastic that much, which made it a little better than all the other months. Year to date, we have a net loss of 160,668. And as I always like to point out, if we were charging a tipping fee to break even, it would have to have been $43.27. If you want to take a quick look at the graph that's associated with that, because I wanted to point out, you'll see plastic natural. Because a plot point on these graphs is when we have sales. So you'll see that our last sales from Plastic Natural was back in May, and it was 96 cents per pound. We had a 53% drop off for the sales that happened in September, which is 45 cents a pound. That's roughly $20,000. So that's the difference. But the 96 cents a pound is pretty high. So we knew it was going to come down. So those are marked. On to the treasurer's report. Revenues. So I have two notes on here. I don't necessarily have line items to go over, but the ones that I do have are miscellaneous revenues and our capital outlay. And those, so we only paid $274,000 for our new excavator, but I have to book revenue of $45,000 for a trade-in, so that's why you see the miscellaneous revenue line. is higher at 56,749, and that's why the total capital cost, because I have to show the full expense of 319,000. So you net those two together, and you end up with 274. For the month, we actually had a deficit of 90,062. Year to date, we're at a deficit of 115,581. But I did go back and have some thoughts when I was doing every quarter. I have to review our expenses, usually repairs and maintenance lines, materials and supplies, to see what I have to depreciate for financial reporting purposes. And I had $160,000 for our 2 EV roll-off trucks deposit we made back in August that is showing as an expense here. I'm going to reclass that to actually a prepaid expense because that's what it is, and then we will capture that full expense when we actually receive the trucks, which will probably be next year in the first quarter, which will obviously improve the bottom line. So the cash was laid out, but realistically, it shouldn't be in the expense line here. So I will fix that next month. Any questions on all that stuff?
So right now we had $115,000 deficit for the year through September.
But I say it should really be reflected as a positive 145 if I classify that correctly.
Did you say positive 145?
It should, because like I said, I have to pull 160,000 out of the capital outlays and expense. I put some thought into it. I actually reached out to a couple colleagues of mine and agreed on the same thing. So
positive 45.
145, because 160,000 is going to have to come out of the capital outlay line from August. So you net that with the negative 115 right now. So you have positive 145. I'm sorry, 45. You're right. You guys got it. See, I taught you so well.
That was a quiz, wasn't it? See if we were paying
Yeah,
attention.
it wasn't. It's boo-boo.
Any other questions? Okay, anyone care to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, all in favor of accepting the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We have the recycling compliance report in our packet. I read it quickly. Do people want to take a minute to read it, or are you familiar with it? Do you have any questions? Because Robert's not here tonight. Yeah, we don't normally, I just want to, yeah, I just want to make sure that, want to give people a chance.
Does anyone have an update on the November 6th meeting with Quick Check?
I do. Quick Check's a little different than Stewart, because everything is more out of the main corporate office, which isn't located anywhere near here. So he started to make progress, and then the local regional director manager kind of put things on hold for a second while they sent everything to their corporate legal team. So we're just working through that process. I let him know that when that meeting gets set up, it needs to involve Nancy and myself. And the meeting will be at some point in the future, but unless you have a different.
No, I don't have, they're based in Arkansas, but I haven't heard any response yet.
So they've kind of just put everything to a stop.
And,
Thank you.
great.
The Stewart's ones that I've observed seem to really, not only do they seem to be being used, they also seem to be being used correctly.
Yeah, I've noticed
They're
that
not
too.
being filled up with garbage.
Right.
And it was really nice to see the one in Cohonson. They have 2 bins, and they have 2 garbage bins, and they have 2 recycling bins, and there's a bag in there, and they put the top so it just takes the bottles and things. And I took a peek in the other day, and people are using it.
Good.
So it's working.
Is
And
that-
just- go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I enjoyed it.
His next kind of, so he's been working with the gas stations for a little bit and multifamily. His next kind of step is that he's started a little bit, and I don't remember if he mentioned this in his report, it's liquor stores because of the volume of cardboard and other things. So he's starting to
drive around, look at those, go in, talk to the owners and others. So that's kind of beginning of 26, but starting a little bit now, but that'll be kind of loud.
I see, excuse me. I see here that there was somebody that is operating from Sullivan County without a permit and,
Reaver.
oh, well, whoever it is, can't you say to them, don't bring your stuff here? If you don't have a permit, you can't
No,
dump it
that's the
here?
opposite. They're picking from here and they're probably bringing to Sullivan County.
Right.
Oh, is that what you're
It's the other way, right?
Oh,
So he's from Sullivan County. He's got customers here.
he says, but,
Picking up
Because
garbage.
he bought out another hauler.
yeah, he's got,
So we're trying to get them to come
He's
here
put-
and
yeah,
get them
we want 'em to come
permitted.
here.
We want them to have a license.
yeah, I understand that, yeah. What did I see? He said he's got the roll-offs in somewhere, I saw here. Maybe it's, no.
They have
I
over
think
two
Donna's
hundred
right.
roll-offs
Yeah.
and
It's a
compactors
flow
currently
control.
and wanna get into residential pickup.
Yeah,
So it's a flow control
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
okay.
Okay.
Just one real quick, yes or no, you can give me answer. Does he tend to focus on segments, like he's doing liquor stores all over, or does he focus on towns, or he has a mixture of that?
He has a mixture,
Yeah.
because each town has so many, and so like when he's focused on gas stations, like you go to any town, there's dozens of gas stations, or multi-unit, but like oftentimes he'll time it around visits to an MRDC, he'll focus on a segment in that.
I'm just gonna, just information, I remember when I used to cater, bartending at weddings, there were so many times that they would just bypass recycling, throw everything away, so I don't know if that's something that could be thought of in the future.
Yeah.
Sent to event planners and
Right,
organizers and all
event
that.
halls,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, because, yeah, I'm still floored when there's not a recycling bin when I go anywhere, so.
Right.
Executive director's update?
Sure. So just a couple of stakeholder meetings, regularly attended Town Supervisors Association. Talked with them about contracts and the repower project. There was the New York State Association of Conservation Committees. Was held on the 24th. I moderated a panel on organics. Tim had presented on the repower project at that. That was well attended. What was the Best Western and is now the venue. And so, they actually had Assembly Member Glick there, who is the head of the Assembly's Environmental Committee, as kind of their speaker at lunch. And it was a well put on conference, and I think we got a lot out of it. The night before that was the launch for the circular economy project. And so the Ulster County Circular Economy Strategy, I was not there, but Tim presented, as well as Sustainable Hudson Valley and Circularly. About 50 people that were stakeholders. And again, I think, it was a well put on launch, and that's got us into our roundtables, which we have 5 roundtables set up with different industry groups. So like makers, architects and contractors, haulers, reuse organizations, and retail stores. I think I missed one there. But
5th one is still to be scheduled. That'll be for entrepreneurs and startups.
because we got feedback from the launch that somebody thought that there should be someone talking to investors and other
Many people.
money people.
Who knew you needed money?
You can't really tell it because we did the space heater in this room before the meeting, but we haven't had heat in the building for about a month to a month and a half. As I think you're all aware, we were working with GPI and Alfondre on bid documents to redo the HVAC system, getting ready to go out to bid on that, and everything died. So we had Ashley Mechanical, who has been kind of our maintenance contractor, come out and try to fix it. And they came out twice and didn't get it going. I had, instead using those bid documents, I just sent it out to 5 companies. Couple declined right away. We got one solid quote back. I still have not heard from the 2 other companies. It was from Fox, $146,000, which was way over our budget. So We asked them for a just inline replacement of what we had, but to try to get a more efficient model. With some economizers, which will improve the fresh air intake. So it's $34,000 for the 2 RTU units and $8,000 for the economizers, which will help with both efficiency and fresh air intake. And they're scheduled to do that next week.
Okay, so that's just it's a 1-for-1 replacement
Correct,
of 2 units.
of 2 units.
And an upgrade with the economizers they're called?
Yes,
Total of 42.
yes. So
Is your name Mark Ryder?
I was hoping that he was to say yes again.
So that's where we're at. We'll have heat by next week. I mean, we really needed to get it in before December. It's maintained okay with people having space heaters in their offices, but that's not a great solution long term. There's more electric.
You've only tripped the breakers 3 times.
We're getting through. Collective bargaining, as you all saw, there was a resolution that we pulled, still waiting from the union on the MOA. I've been told I will have that tomorrow, and as soon as I have it, Nancy will work putting it together in contract form, and we will get it out to you well before next month. So if there's any questions throughout the month, hopefully we can, you all will raise them prior to the meeting, because unless we have a special meeting later on in December, the December meeting will be the last opportunity to approve the contract prior to it expiring on December 31st. And I don't really want to be on an expired labor contract. Right? People do it. Sometimes it happens, but I think we're at a spot where I think we're okay. Also, the evaluation committee has selected 3 companies to present to you all for the diversion and alternatives to landfills RFP. And so I'll be providing the board members who are not on the evaluation committee with those proposals. And I'll send out a doodle poll on when would be good times to set aside an hour block for each of the presenters. Preferably in person, but if we had to
Can
do
we
it
call
on, we could do a call in if it had to be. I mean, I think it will depend on your availability. That's all I have.
Is there an option to try to do that on the meeting day? And just do it earlier?
That's a really long meeting, but I'll leave that up to all of you. I'm here all day. So that would be more, I mean, I know, Jim, you're normally.
I don't think it would work for me.
Okay,
I have trouble getting back from the city.
okay.
But maybe
I just asking because if it was all the same day, for people like me, it would be easier, but that, whatever works.
if generally Thursdays work, I'll send out the doodle poll and see what works for everybody.
Who was on the evaluation committee?
So it was myself, Tim Wheelan, Charlie, Angelina, Amanda LaBelle. Tim was the financial advisor.
I hung out with
Jim and myself.
Just you two.
Jim and Mike.
So if you don't get the information, if you can't make it, because of work or something,
Well,
you're
no,
running
it doesn't quite work that way
No?
because the process
Okay,
has changed a little
Okay.
bit as we go through
It
it.
evolved.
It's a back and forth.
all right.
Yeah, it evolved.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think, shortly after that meeting, like the preference to do it would be, I mean, either looking at it and using the regular board meeting night and then having a regular board meeting a different night, or trying to do it before, which I think is difficult. Like one of these companies is coming from England, one is from California, one is from Colorado, various different places. So I think it would be hard to schedule much sooner than December 11th, which is our next board meeting, especially with Thanksgiving week and various stuff.
And they're all coming in, they wouldn't call in.
I think they would prefer to.
You said an hour total for all?
No, no,
three?
no.
1 hour per,
1 hour each,
which is
yeah.
3
So 3
total hours.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be the same day. We can, whatever works for you. Well, I'll send out the doodle poll and you'll see what
Yeah,
works.
let's see what we get.
And that's all I have. Any questions?
Did you want us to sign this? I heard
Yeah,
Donna
that
put
would be
something on
helpful, and then I
this.
can provide you all the.
Do you want me to do a quick goals?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Well, you're on all
Oh, is it?
unfinished
Okay.
business after the resolutions.
I'm gonna start calling you now.
So why don't you hold on to those and we'll discuss those documents further, and let's get through the resolutions. All right, so resolution 2665, approving the solid waste management agreement between the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency and the towns. And you had a draft. The draft, you want to explain? I mean, this is pretty boilerplate, but.
Yeah. So it's very much like the prior agreements, with the exception of the town has an obligation to divert reusable material. I'm not gonna call it waste. So like setting up the Tivoli shed would be one way to show that they are using their best. The language says they will use their best efforts to divert both food waste and reusable items. So one way that we say they can use their best efforts is by working with us on the program of the Repower project. Another way is they can do whatever they can to use their best efforts. They have to report back to us what they're doing. Other changes are, we are requiring them to go to electronic billing or pay like a convenience charge, because we're moving all of our customers to an electronic system, which has greatly added
Trying to cut
efficiency.
down on paper. That's it.
Go figure. And there was some obligations around Angelina's services that we provide to the MRDCs, doing these annual training meetings where we had very few people show up, maybe 7 or 8 of the towns, and having them be more of a required meeting. So those were the big changes.
Just have one question for the electronic billing. If they receive a electronic bill, they can still pay with a paper check? Is that an issue? Okay, because I know a lot of municipalities still, because of the signing process and all that, they still pay with paper checks. I mean, the billing electronically is fine, but
We still pay with paper checks. So.
yeah.
For the same, for the same
Yeah,
reason.
it's keeps the comptroller much happier.
Mark, what type of response have you gotten from the towns? Any feedback, or anybody agree with, sign it, say yes or no, or give you any complaints or anything?
I got it back from one town, but you know, the towns have to pass these through resolutions
understand, yeah.
and all that, so I've not gotten any feedback, negative or positive.
An editorial item. Exhibit B, number 9 and number 17 are the same, I think.
In a page,
Exhibit B,
is there a page?
19. Number 9 and number 17, I think are the same, unless I'm reading it wrong. I saw that in a couple different places. And then on 27, it says all regulated recyclables must come to the agency. So what if let's say the regulated recyclables change? I mean, there's, they have to bring it.
Yeah, you have to set them up though, you have to,
Yeah.
and you go there and.
Am I wrong about that repetition
I think
Might
it's
be.
pretty close enough to the same that we
It's
wouldn't
kind of the same.
necessarily need both.
Yeah.
I
there?
think
Something about
this is
keys or
slightly
something,
different.
right? Yeah.
Access, one says specifically that we have to have keys to all gates. The other one says that we have to have access to the containers and connectors. So, I mean, in future contracts, we could probably combine them.
Yeah, put it in one
two
company.
into one.
I don't think
I don't think I would
It's not gonna.
redo all of them and send them back to the towns, but in the future, I think that's very valid.
What's the difference between the exhibit, the point of emphasis, and the MRDC regulations? Why is that called out? What's the theory there?
Where, yeah.
The
Yeah, so-
difference between exhibit A and
And
B,
Exhibit B.
one is more just operationally, how they will, that they're, I mean, I don't want to simplify the title, but one's regulations to specifically their operation. Another one has to do with more of like it being a 5-year contract, it being the price, the fact that we have to have access, so not necessarily to monitor compliance. You know, part of this is probably just a little bit of, we carried over some of the older contracts, which have been around for 20 years.
Yeah, it kind of looks like multiple things have been tried to be
Added over time.
stuffed in that box here.
We don't always recreate the wheel, but sometimes that doesn't make for the best.
We're pretty sure there's no conflicting information.
There's no conflict.
Because it's, I mean, there's
Well, well,
all
you're
the
right, if
dialogue
there
is in here and then it's also in the exhibits. It's more of a summary of it. It's good.
Can I have a motion to accept the resolution 2665, please?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I meant to say aye, but I didn't, and I say aye.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. We are,
No financial impact though? So, how can I have no financial?
it's not gonna change anything, right? I mean, it's,
In the budget?
yeah, I mean,
Some financial.
well, in any case, let's move on. 2666 has been pulled till next month. So resolution number 2667, approving the mattress and textile recycling program agreements between the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency and Renewable Recycling Incorporated. Anything you want to say about this, Mark?
Yeah, so happy that we are finally getting to this stage, and I'll talk about like our internal, what we're planning to do to have this set up in the old unfinished business, but you know, I'm happy that we kind of come to an agreement with Renewable Recycling. I think they'll be a great partner. I do have a copy that I provided to you all that was in front of your seats. The Schedule B has changed because in the time between the proposal and after I negotiated with them on a longer term agreement, the first one was
It's a
very
huge-
vague about the pricing in the long term, and the new one, the only difference in this entire contract is Schedule B, and it lays out pricing.
Is there,
Wait,
is
this one
there,
doesn't have
is there another
a B.
copy? I didn't get.
I have,
Yeah, I only have schedule A as
There's
well.
no B on here.
It's on the screen too, if you want.
Okay.
but it should,
But it still says, is that the new one?
no, that's, sorry, Tim.
There's only one, no.
Does it? So we don't have
How
a,
does this one not?
none of them.
You have a schedule?
Oh.
No, you don't.
It should say it's scheduled to be addendum.
Yeah, but it says schedule A is all. right.
Let me, actually, give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry. Because I don't want you to vote
Gonna
on
pause the
something you're
tape,
not seeing. You wanna go to the goals, Tim?
Sure.
Right. Board happy to move on to the goals while we get that? All right, let's go. Tim, why don't you go ahead and start it again if you hadn't stopped it?
No, I haven't stopped it.
Okay, cool.
So by way of a goals update, we're in the fourth quarter of 2025. So we have our goals that we had approved back earlier in the year for 2025. The work will come in the first quarter of next year to evaluate those goals. Right now, we are working with the directors to compile updates on the 2024 tasks from the solid waste management plan. So we talked a little bit about this previously, but in the adopted solid waste management plan, there is a schedule of tasks and activities that the agency will undertake. It's been updated in each of our biennial updates. And so we have an implementation plan for tasks and activities for 2024 and for 2025. And so we are currently going through the 2024 tasks and getting updates from all the directors so that we will have that to include when we do our next biennial update in October of 2026. And so it's a parallel process that ideally should have been done first quarter of this year to look back at the previous year. But, you know, this is new on my radar, and so we're catching up this time. And then next year, in the first quarter of next year, we will be doing both of these things. We will be doing an update on the status of tasks and activities from the solid waste management plan and an evaluation of the goals from 2025. And I bring all that up because what this points to is aligning these two things, which is something that we've talked about when I put together the goals presentation that you all saw and outlined the goals that we'd identified for 2025. We talked about how there's also this other thing, the solid waste management plan, that says slightly different things. And so in the first quarter of next year, we will be aligning the tasks and activities from the solid waste management plan with our goals so that we can prepare for the biennial update in October of next year, so that we can use that biennial update to basically align all this stuff and have everything saying the same thing. Right now, if you look at the solid waste management plan, it has sort of those as goal statements up there. Those have been modified, changed slightly over the years during biennial updates, but they don't really make it into the implementation plan. So my evaluation, kind of what I was sharing with Mark, is that we've got two separate things right now. We've got a plan that has a whole bunch of tasks and actions, but no goals. And now we have goals, but the tasks and actions live in a different plan. And so again, the work in the first quarter will be to bring them together. But again, so my current effort is on getting us up to date with the implementation plan from 2024 so that we can then in the first quarter of next year be fully on task to get the updates for the implementation plan for 2025 while we're also aligning with our goals.
Good.
So you did this really awesome presentation probably 6 months ago, when you kind of gave us all the graphic and everything, and so you're trying to align that.
Yeah, so
Align that
if you
with
remember, the way that we framed this is we had our mission statement, and then we had a layer of goals that support the mission statement, which was similar to these, but slightly refined. And then we had some key performance indicators under each of those goals.
Yeah.
And so now what we're layering in is, okay, look, we have a goal and we have measures, metrics that tell us how we're doing on that goal.
Right.
But the missing part is, what are the things that we're doing that support achieving that goal? And so those live in this implementation plan from the solid waste management plan. And so these now are slightly separate. What I would say, an example is, there are some tasks and actions from the solid waste management plan that my read is I can't figure out how they align with any of the goals. And so I think that's an exercise that has never really been undertaken yet. And so that'll be the step in the first quarter of next year, is saying, okay, look, we have these goals, and now we have an implementation plan that we are apparently, at the end of, because that implementation plan was for 2025. And so now we're going to say, look, in our submission for a biennial update, this is our chance to say we're going to drop an action because it's not related to a goal, or we're going to add some actions because we have some goals that we think there's some other things we should be doing to support. And so that's, I know without walking you through kind of a detailed visual of this, it's a little hard to picture.
The visual
but
is very nice. So then my ultimate question is, for the presentation you did previously, and I know you're kind of setting it up and you're doing a lot of this alignment and everything, that's great. When will we see all the goals and all the work that you did early on? When will we see a depiction of the results of that? Like
First quarter. First quarter
so
of
the
next year.
individual and departmental goals,
Yep.
like we should be able to see if it's working or needs to be aligned or adjusted,
Totally.
or whatever. Will there be some kind of more formal presentation, I guess?
Yes. Yeah. So that is those goals were for 2025. So at the end of the year, at the same time as I turned to these guys and asked them again, because this is like why it would have been nice if I had done 24 in the first quarter of 25, so I don't have to go back to the directors 2 months later and ask them again for updates. But what I'll be doing in the first quarter is saying, give me updates on your 2025 tasks from the solid waste plan, and give me updates on your progress towards your goals that we established for 2025. And so that, together is what'll give us the information that we need for our biennial update.
And for 2026.
Yes,
goals
exactly.
too, I mean,
Exactly,
I guess, right?
exactly.
Yeah, all this stuff needs to be.
And that's, again, the timing there is right, because to do the 2026 goals at that stage allows us, we'll probably actually try to set 2026 goals and carry those into 2027, so that then that becomes the content of our biennial update, basically. And so if you go back to the biennial updates and local solid waste management plans, you'll see this giant matrix in there. It's kind of one of the appendices. That's the implementation plan. And so it has all of these actions and tasks laid out right now by just categories. the task that I'll be doing is to lay them out, not just on categories, but which goals do they align with? And so that'll be our submission in 2026.
So one final question,
Mhm.
just as Amanda walked out. Wouldn't it be great if we could, instead of talking about the zero waste implementation plan and all of our goals and our implement, like, why are they not the same, or why are they not aligned? Why is it some other plan that's out there that the legislature is working on? You know, like, we gotta try to blend that in at
Totally.
some point, you know, and it might take a year or two, by the way, but we're worried about this document that we can't seem to ever, never finish, and it's not even relevant because it needs to be, we need to develop it. Like, somebody else can't develop that for us. We need to do that. It's our thing. And the exercise is doing the zero waste implementation plan. It's not having somebody else do it for us. It's not worth it.
Well,
Yeah.
so what I had told them.
Where's Manna? Where's Manna?
What I had asked the legislature is that we were doing this RFP for diversity.
Yeah.
And asked if they would just hold off on the zero waste implementation plan until we saw what we were gonna be able to divert through this RFP, so that the zero waste implementation plan really focused on all other items that, or included those diversion
yeah.
items, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Something.
not what happened. And so they went out to RFP.
We're just trying to.
They
think
wanted to
had
get
good-
it done.
I think they had good intentions, but
Absolutely,
didn't
but
work
that's
out.
not right.
Right, didn't work out.
The one other thing I'll say is that part of what will help make this clear for everybody is we have in the budget for next year some funding for a software product that's for strategic plan management and for goals management. And so I think my hope is that in that first quarter update next year that I provide, it'll be using that new tool, and it'll be something that has a dashboard that you all will be able to access to and check in on.
Yeah, we-
Well, I know it's been a lot of work, and we knew it would be a lot of work when you started, so congratulations. on the
Well,
progress you've
it's
made.
not done. I mean, I
Right,
think
no, I'm not
it's
saying
gonna
it
be
is.
an ongoing thing, and I expect it'll
It's
be on the
getting there,
agenda.
you know.
Asking.
But even not being done, I mean, you're obviously putting in a lot of good work, so you and the directors and the team appreciate
And
it.
it's not a task
No,
that
it's
will
never
ever
done.
be done.
Never.
Right,
done.
right.
Continuous
Ongoing
improvement.
monitoring of
Continuous
goals.
improvement model,
It's
right?
ongoing tweaking of goals. We're not setting goals that we can just check a box and say we're done.
Just taking a
We are.
snapshot, taking
Yeah.
a look at a snapshot.
You missed the
It's
whole
living document.
discussion
And then
on the
another.
zero waste plan, man, I missed the whole discussion on the zero waste implementation. Did you hear it from the bathroom?
Okay.
So let's move back to resolution 2667. Thank you, Tim, for that. Thank you, Donna, for staying on top of that. All right, so we have the Schedule B in front of us now.
So the other one said something about the pricing ended in the end of June, so this has been updated, it looks like, so that it's not, it doesn't end in June. Okay, gotcha. And the escalators are in this too.
Correct. Yep. We don't anticipate right now utilizing them for carpet, but we'll see how that goes. That's not what we're set up. That's what they proposed, but that's, I mean,
Was that a new thing? Cause I was,
That was a
that
new
was
thing.
a
That's a
pleasant
new-
surprise, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
So to speak.
I'm not saying we won't. For one, I don't see a ton of carpet that comes in. Some from time to time, but it's also not part of what we're setting.
It's not like mattresses that you're seeing all the time.
Right.
So this is what
And
the,
there's EPR for carpet that's actually working.
this is what we're gonna charge the customer, or what they're charging us.
No, what they're charging.
Okay,
Well,
well, go ahead.
what we charge the customer, remember, we went this year up to $10, but we charge 20, right?
Over the scale, yeah.
Over the scale, and then 10 per piece. So you bring in a mattress and a box spring, you're paying at least $40. And so what we've always talked about with this contract and this went up, right? Like that's reality is from the first proposal to this proposal, it went up. It almost doubled.
5, 6 bucks.
Yeah, close to.
I'm just curious why they charge you for contaminated mattresses. It sounds like they're gonna fix them up and sell them again as mattresses. I mean, you know, if they're gonna tear them all, I'm just curious. I'm sure there's a reason, but,
They don't want them. They dispose of them like we would. I mean, the reality is that we're not putting contaminated mattresses. They've outlined what they don't consider recyclable mattresses. And what's contaminated will still end up going to the
To the
landfill
landfill.
because they're gonna send it to the landfill or the incinerator anyway.
Right.
And so we're not gonna pay them the extra amount to handle it when we can just continue to send it. They will do trainings with our staff on what is acceptable for recyclables and not. And
That
it's
was my
here
question.
as a deterrent so that we're not filling their boxes full of unrecyclable mattresses.
Yeah,
Because then there's no money, no revenue for them, because they're just gonna have to dispose of it.
right.
Yeah.
But,
Isn't
so-
January 1, 2026 to December
Yes.
31, 2028, 3
so-
years?
It is. She sent this over yesterday, so I need to work with her. It's a 5-year initial term.
So Mark, I don't mean to interrupt, but, any mattress that comes in on a Packer truck that's all mushed up with garbage would be considered contaminated?
No,
No?
not necessarily.
Okay,
It's again, if it's defined by infestation of mold, rust, burns, oil,
It's got
built in
limits, right?
significant tears. So it has to be more than 5%
oh, okay, 5%, okay, well,
of the overall condition of the mattress.
then what about the mattresses, just out of curiosity, that they have out there, just the ones that come in a box nowadays, you know, the ones that are, they're just,
Good question.
They count, I mean.
They count?
They are recyclable.
okay.
Maybe more so. It's less
I think they
it's just
turn
one
that more
material.
into the insulation
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's the foam and the shredding. Yeah.
That's good.
So Mark, on that date mistake here can we just assume that it's a date mistake or, so the
So
first.
it's the first 2
the
years.
first
So-
2
so
years are
first
the
2
two
years,
years,
year
year
3,
three.
year 4, year 5.
So they're off by a year.
Yeah. The resolution is approving the substance and form of what I'm providing you. This will be tweaked before I sign it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a 6-year deal.
No, it's a
Because
5-year
that's
deal.
what, yeah, because this, if you add up the years, it's a 6-year deal.
Correct.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution
I'll make that
2667.
motion.
I'll second it.
All right, and by the way, I want to congratulate, Donna and Angie, you've been here since the beginning and you've both been pushing for this, so. And I just want to say.
Finally,
it took 3
congratulations.
years.
Yeah,
But we
congratulations.
did it.
All right, all in favor? Aye? Come on, you don't want to miss it, all in favor? There you go. All right, opposed? Great, thank you, everybody. And congratulations to Mark and the staff too, because I know, you know.
Work.
Mark, are we
Thank
gonna
you.
spread that notice to all the, MRDCs so they know too that? Are we gonna like ask them to try to,
They've been charging, I mean, we've been charging.
not charging, but in how they, make
Right,
it
not
easier for us to access them and not just
Contaminated.
bury them in the containers and.
Yeah, we'll work.
All right. So we've had our discussion on goals. I don't know if we need anything else on mattress recycling, that sort of served it, so we are at County Code 304, solid waste recycling amendments, second round. And I believe our esteemed council will take the lead on this, is that right?
Thanks, Jim. I printed out everyone a memo, instead of the actual, 304, draft 304 that I'm working on, because I figured it would be a lot of papers and I'm gonna be making changes anyways. So since our last meeting, I was able to continue working on them as discussed. I plan to coordinate with Angelina, Robert, and Mark again later this month to get their input on the changes. Just broadly speaking, other than the definition section, which is 304-9, I've been focusing on tweaking 304-10, which is administration. So part H establishes the reporting procedures to account for all regulated recyclable materials generated in the county, as well as any other recyclable waste streams being studied by the agency for solid waste planning purposes. So in this section, I spoke with Angelina. We decided that adding or listing some examples here would be effective in clarifying the law. 304-14, which is regarding multifamily dwellings. There's part C has discusses the components of a plan. So there's a couple of rephrasing here. I've listed in my notes basically the changes that I've specifically made. And then, another thing of note would be 304-15, commercial generators. In this section, the word plan is used throughout this section, but really what we're referring to is a recycling report, so a clarity or clarification regarding that. There are still some things, again, with my meeting with Mark and Angelina and Robert to discuss, with regard to, like, should we change the number of increasing the, so the commercial generators, should we increase the number of employees? Or because Robert has been having issues with trying to enforce or educate the commercial generators in understanding the law. So there needs to be further discussion of that. And then for next steps, I have 304-16 and 304-18. I just flagged some issues that we began discussing. But before we could potentially, I'll just again meet with Mark, Angelina, and Rob. And if it's an issue, if these are issues that we think want to bring to the board in December, we can also, do that. But that's about it. I don't think that it's necessary to go into too details. I have it all outlined in my notes. If there are any questions, feel free to send me emails. If there are anything about the 304 that you'd like me to look into and refine.
Nancy, what's the process flow to get this? So this is our suggestion. So then we would, once we come up with the final thing, do we vote on, this is what we'd like to propose to the legislature? And
Like
then
a
it goes to them and they can do whatever they want.
Right.
Like they're not like.
It's almost like a memorializing resolution.
Okay.
We are requesting,
We're asking.
probably
that
bring
this-
it to the recycling
yeah.
oversight committee too.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So let's not forget that before that happens, we need to talk to the recycling oversight committee. That's huge.
Yeah.
I we just need to find out when we meet.
Yeah.
And we should probably then, once we decide on the final proposal, take it to the Energy and Environment Committee and ask to be on their agenda
Yeah.
for a meeting and present it to them. Because hopefully we can get them as a body to sponsor it or at least move it forward for
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, true.
Would it go to the laws and rules?
It would eventually, but I think they're the board that we deal
They're
with
the-
the most.
They would be the board of the committee of jurisdiction, and it would also go to laws and rules.
Oh, okay.
It would go to both.
So us, then it goes, I think recycling oversight committee, and then energy and environment, then laws, and then the legislature. Yeah. Yes.
Very
So
good.
it could take a few months, yes.
I mean, I don't think I would actually go to the committee per se. I would meet with the chair and get him to sponsor it, and then they would all add sponsorship at the meeting to discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, we could just ask to be on their agenda and go and make a presentation too, so.
Yeah, well, that's a problem for down the line, but we'll see where we're at that point,
Yeah.
because that'll be a few months anyway. But again, more progress. It's nice to see this all, steadily moving along.
You're true, but you can prep for this one.
If you read the original contract, all the contract is really.
Did your eyes like,
Yeah.
when you were reading this, go, really? This is a lot? It is kind of archaic, but thank you for working on it.
So we already covered goals.
Yes, we've covered goals, so I think, I
Mattress
believe,
recycling.
yep, I believe we are.
Well, let me just real quick on
Okay.
mattress recycling, because we talked about the contract, so. We have the area set aside. Right now, we've been working on either, the original plan was to take a couple of container, like shipping containers, and put a roof that would cover it in between them. We've also got a quote on a partial steel building that would last 35 to 40 years. The trailers and the roof is about a $5,000 bill. The steel structure is about $11,000. So it's still very reasonable. We're trying to get a couple more quotes from local companies that would build a building like that, but I think that that's probably where we want to be. It would withstand higher winds. It would be a better facility really to store these mattresses. than just the kind of makeshift building we were gonna set up.
Don't they provide the trailers and we load the trailer and they just do the swap, right? Is that not the format?
They will provide trailers. We will
Right.
need to bring the mattresses over from the transfer station and get them in.
Into the trailer.
So they should still be covered before they even get to the trailers. It's more like a staging area, because we're not gonna take each mattress and go directly to the trailer.
Or floor.
We have them, yeah.
You have a floor
Yeah,
there already?
that was.
No, it's not poured yet, but
Okay.
it's asphalt.
Yeah, okay. Great.
So more on that, but we're getting there.
Okay, great. All
And
right.
I covered the diversion RFP in the executive director update. So as I said, the board members who were not originally on the evaluation committee will be receiving the proposals.
There you go.
So I want to ask, because these are like, it's 1,000 pages. If anybody needs it in paper form, I can get that. But the evaluation committee got them all electronically. So-
Except for one,
Except for one.
which
Well,
didn't
one.
come, which didn't come electronically.
Which didn't come electronically.
Right.
And which you all will get in a booklet form as well. But the rest of them, unless I have a specific ask, and you can do that offline, you don't need to do that right this second.
Are you giving them all of them or just the three that we referred?
So as of right now, it's the 3 that's referred, the 2 that made it to the second round, and a synopsis of the other 2. But I'm doing them all separately because I don't want people to get confused. There's only really 3 that are being looked at, but for information purposes, providing the other 2, and then information on why the other 2 didn't even make it because of 2.
And then, just for the record, these will all be public once the process is complete. So, but it's a lot of, what's the term they use?
Proprietary information,
So that's why
trade
we have to,
secrets.
that's why we have to handle it carefully. But you'll get to see it when, it's not like we're gonna not be transparent. You'll see everything that we got. It's just gonna take a while. And the same with the board. You'll see.
There will be information redacted in the spoilable material, but that will be
That-
truly trade secrets and proprietary information.
What do you anticipate so you're gonna try to do a doodle poll and schedule a meeting of the board of the 3 vendors, then what do you envision the time frame is after that?
My hope is that we have a decision in January, so we have that meeting or meetings. We also have one additional probably hour, so maybe the best plan and all, depending on the results of the doodle poll, would really be to have one day where there's a 2-hour block set aside to do 2 of the presentations. Another day relatively close to that day where we do the 3rd presentation and then have an hour. And this is the same format that the evaluation committee originally used to get the proposals from 5 to 3, is set aside an hour to discuss and then in January, there would be a resolution approved.
So 2 meetings. Makes sense.
On top of the regular board meeting.
That's more manageable than 1 4-hour meeting.
Yeah, because you come out of it with a clear head, like
Yeah.
a 4-hour
Yeah.
meeting, by the end,
Yeah.
you're all punchy and you're not
Yeah.
really making a lot of good decisions anyway. Okay,
And no need for
There's no
executive
executive
session
session.
unless the board member has a request to go into executive session.
all right.
Just for new business, just something I'd like to ask. I was gonna ask, Angelina, not ask her, but suggest to her is that maybe we have the agency do don't throw your deposit bottle in the garbage type of thing. Maybe even get schools to collect them and return them in for, whatever, but make people aware, because I was Meet the Candidates night actually in Shotton. And one of the candidates, they were giving out bottles of water, and one of the candidates, took the water, threw it in the garbage. Not full empty. No, but I'm saying, I know, that candidate didn't get my vote because but I pointed out to the council person that is on the recycling resource. I said, see, that's what I've been complaining about the whole time, and he's like, oh, okay. But I just thought that if maybe, you know, that they could do it through schools or through people, but something, a program of, you know, don't throw it in the garbage, throw it in the recycling or redeem it.
But don't they do?
What?
If we could have that one, they did plastic free July or something like that.
Well-
That as a component of that.
Something.
It could just be one topic.
Yeah,
We can do a social on it and then we can do it at
Yeah.
a monthly campaign.
All right, it's not even 8 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Okay, all in
That was
favor?
the fastest.
All in favor of adjourning the November 13th, 2025 meeting of the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right, we are adjourned.
I'm gonna go get my daughter by 8. So.
Oh, good. Oh,